Welcome to e-Semplice, where music theory is simplified. This is a grade 5 question where you are required to move a piece of music from short score to open score. As you can see on the board, short score is when music is written on the grand stave, where you have the sopranos and altos singing from the same stave, and the tenors and basses singing from the bass stave. That is shared by two voices, and the bass stave too is shared by two voices. You'll also notice that in the short score, the stem rule does not apply. All the soprano notes have their stems up, all the alto notes have their stems down, tenor notes, the stems are up, bass notes, the stems are down. But in the open score, stem rule applies. So when you are moving these notes to the open score, please remember that stem rule applies. And as you can see in the open score, the voices have separate staves on their own, the sopranos alone, the altos alone, the tenors alone, and the basses alone. No sharing of stave in the open score. Now, our duty is actually easy. Easy in the sense that you won't so much have difficulties moving the soprano notes and the alto notes and the bass notes to the open score. The only thing you have to do is when you move them, just remember to change the stem direction to obey the stem rule. Where we have a little duty, we'll be moving the tenor notes to the open score. So let's start by moving the soprano notes first, alto and bass, then we will now see how it applies when we move the tenor notes. So let's just go. Start by putting the clef, the key signature, and the time signature. Same thing here, clef, the key signature, and the time signature. Now we move here, the key signature, and the time signature. Now we are ready to move. So let's just move quickly. Now we have for the soprano notes, our first beat there has G and B. So you have G and B, and they are quavers. The next beat there is D. D. The stem comes down because it's above the middle line. The next beat there we have C. We have C. And the last beat there we have B. Let's move the alto notes quickly. The first alto beat is a D. The first alto note is a D. The second beat, another D. The third beat is a G. This is a G. And the last beat is also a G. Watch, I obeyed stem rule. And please watch out. When you are moving your notes, ensure that the beats align. This is the first beat, the second beat, the third beat, and the fourth beat. Now let's move the bass notes. Now for the bass note, the first note there is a G. Ensure it aligns, a G, followed by F sharp, followed by E, followed by D. As you can see, stem rule applies. And you see my beats are aligned, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. Now, let's now work on the tenor part where you have the job to do. Now, in the open score, the tenors are notated on the treble clef. The tenors are notated on the treble clef, but that treble clef will have a small 8 attached to it, as you can see. Treble clef, a small 8 attached to it. Now, what does that 8 mean? That 8 means in moving these notes there, it will be notated an octave higher than they actually sound. Not that the tenors will sing at that pitch. No, they will still sing what we have here. But because of the treble clef, the notes will be notated at an octave higher. And how do we do that? Just move your first note correctly. First, read your notes. The first tenor note there is B below middle C. Now you come here and look for B below middle C. To the best of my knowledge, oh, we didn't even put, let's put a key signature and our time signature. Now the first note there is B below middle C. So you have B, this is your middle C here, so B is below. Just go for the octave B, which is this line. So it means the first tenor note is going to be here. And you can see, align your beat. Beat 1 should align down. That's the beauty of open score. Now the next tenor note is A and B. A and B. And okay, fine, you may not even read it. Now that you have located your first note, just use intervals to move the rest of the notes. It will be faster. Now, the next note to that is a second lower than the first one. A second lower than the first. So you have here, and it's a quaver. The next note is a second higher, and they are quavers. The next note is a second higher than the previous note too. So you go a second higher. Watch out for the stem direction or stem down at that point. And the next note is also a second higher than the previous note. And that is here. Now, when you finished moving the tenor notes, just check that your letter names are alike. So you have B here, you have B there, A and B, then you have C and you have D. So you see that the notes there are at an octave higher than how they appear here. So, and that 8 takes care of that. So that is how to move notes from short score to open score. And this is what you'll be expected to do in the exams. Now, in the exams, you can also find that the question is given, the question will be open score, and you'll be asked to move the music back to short score. Now, in doing that, that is much more easier because, you know, bass and tenor would be put on the same clef and ensure that the stem directions are properly written. So in the exams, you might be given this and you will ask to move this here, or you will find a question here and you'll be asked to move the music here. So this is how to go about this question in case you find it in the exam. Now, if you find this video useful, subscribe to e-Semplice channel and hit the notification button so you'll be notified when another grade 5 video is posted.